9:01 a.m. U.S. Pacific Standard Time here in Los Angeles. Oh, Bill, just a reminder, this thing falls sometimes still because of that double stick tape is lame. Just a reminder. Anyway, it is Thursday, January 9th, AD 2025. What's up, guys? Yeah, I'm a little late. What is going on? And I should be live on all platforms, YouTube, Rumble, D Live. What's up, guys? We're going to have a fun loosey-goosey The Hake Report show. I did see some of your super chats came in. And I will get to your calls. Some of you guys already on hold. And I will get to your super chats. Like I mentioned, I think I mentioned that already. There was some news that was sort of interesting to me on the skim about abortion. You know, it's just mildly interesting to me. Maybe even more than mildly interesting. It was funny that getting sick was banned. Getting sick, banned. In a small Italy town. Beautiful Italy, right? Because they don't have resources for health care. Jimmy Carter's funeral today, rest in peace. I mentioned in Hake News on the Jason Lee Peterson show today that we've all moved on, you know, like, but they are doing like a proper funeral. Trump is there and other so-called presidents are there. Trump is the greatest true president. The rest of them are a bunch of phonies, but it's nice. It's proper, you know. I don't know how he became. I wonder if he had a strong personality, because it seems like you have to have a strong personality somewhat to become a president, but he just seems so lame. Don't think I ever even heard him talk. But anyway, Biden's giving a bunch of money to Ukraine. I don't get this story about this 14-year-old who went to a school, Appalachia High School again. Is it high school? Yeah, 14 is high school. With a gun and... Oh, my audio is in and out. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on. I think, let me just say this. Good or in and out? 1, good. 2, in and out, bad. 3, a little iffy, but getting better now, I think, question mark. 4 here for chat. Don't care. Hank a beta. 2, says Mark Stafford. Is maybe refresh. Audio is fine for some. It's in and out, kind of bad for others. Pardon me, guys. Pardon me. I don't know what's going on. Nick has had to do some things, I thought. Dan says audio is just fine over here. Kismo, multiple people. Wait, my ears are flapping. I wonder what it sounds like. Pardon me, guys. Oh, let me just check. I'm listening to it on my laptop, and it seems okay. But, you know, okay, YouTube stream is good. Well, whatever. Pardon. Much better now, says Los. Or Los. Okay, what else? I got this tip from Gregatron. It's sort of an interesting clip. A beta, he thinks. There's this person who went to a women's prison, and this person claimed to be a transgender. It's so funny. And you may have heard about it on the Jason Lee Peterson show. JLP, there's like a whole short about it from the Jason Lee Peterson show earlier this week, I think, where this person did not even like shave this person's, you know, scruff on his face, on this person's face. You know, hey, trying to follow these dumb, lame-o liberal rules like a beta, not using the real pronouns, but using and trying not to use the proper pronouns. Proper means fake, imaginary. And so, but this person said that he's been a fighter. I'm slipping and saying he, 200 something pounds, 6 foot something. And of course, this person is going to have the capability of allegedly R-wording the gals in the women's prison. But this person doesn't even try to look or sound girly. Because this person doesn't want to fit in your box of what a transgender should be. So it was an amusing little snippet that I found from a few years ago, of this person either writing or being quoted in this little blog post, and now present day he's accused of raping. Oh, this person is wheelchair bound though, but still capable. Okay, anyway, so we're gonna have fun, everybody, I think. But I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready. Look at this beautiful background. I like it. Hey. So, here we go. Oh, come on. I'm such a boomer over here. I was thinking of reading about Jimmy Carter, to see if there was anything I respected and agreed with, because I like to, appreciate people. Is that lame? Maybe that's mama. I'm looking at this beautiful, what is that, a sunflower? Or is it just a weed? Over there in, I don't think it's burning over here. I'm showing images of the hills and stuff that I recorded back in, I guess, May. And I don't know. I don't think that it's burning over there. It sometimes does burn. That's over north of Azusa. This is Glendora Mountain Road, up in north of Glendora, which is north of Azusa, California, and it's past where it's burning. Hopefully it's not burning over there. But anyway, it's beautiful, peaceful, nice, and I like to go there sometimes. It's over by my dentist, a white man dentist, by the way. Very nice. GMR, Glendora Mountain Road. So, anyway, guys, we got to get started because people are on hold and I have stuff to get to. No Joel Friday today. No, Big Bum says, as far as he knows, that hasn't burned yet. Look how beautiful and green those California mountains are. Let's get right on, though, with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. I have some fun stuff to share with you guys. Oh, oops, my bad. I don't want to do that. Oh, let me turn that off though. Wearing my Henley today, somebody noticed, and shout out to Hassan for teaching me about the word Henley the name Henley. No, it's not going to be a 5-hour Hake report. It did kind of cross my mind. But I don't think that I have the time, the will. I may have the energy, but I don't think I have the time or the will. Although it would be remarkable. I haven't cleared it with anybody. I haven't talked about it. Nobody asked me to. Had they asked me to, I might have filled in for them. But I don't know, I'm sort of a boomer, and I'm a risk to Joel Friday TV's channel, perhaps. I don't know. YouTube may be changing their ways, the way that beautiful Mark Zuckerberg is doing. I feel like turning that fan on for myself. Woo. So, I don't know. I don't think so. I think I'm going to keep it to 2 hours. Do it, Hake. Just keep streaming. I think I'm going to keep it to 2 hours, though, so that way I can go and do work and possibly even prepare some, archive stuff. Maybe not for today, but, JLP has a lot of archive stuff that I haven't really touched. Well, I don't know if he has a lot of Well, yeah, he does, actually. Radio show stuff. So, sleeves go to the elbow. That's a Henley. Oh, oops. Well, it has buttons on it, but no collar. Or a simple collar, not a folded one. Okay, let me get to a call or two, guys. Denny in Bulgaria is on the line over here. Denny, thank you for calling. Excuse me, Denny, thank you for calling and holding. How you doing, man?
All is well, Mr. Hake. Thanks for taking my call, and happy 2025, sir.
Thank you. Same to you.
Mr. Hake, I'm calling because I'm not sure if you had the chance to listen to the interview with President Zelensky and Alexei Fedotov.
Oh, wait. You said President Zelensky?
Yes, President Zelensky and Lex Friedman.
Lex Friedman. No, I have not. I saw that tip, and I put it into my watch later thing. So hopefully this weekend I'll be able to get to it.
I'm pretty sure it will be very interesting. This man is either completely out of his mind.
Who is Zelensky?
Or his, yes. Alexei is a remarkable genius. I've watched some interviews.
Oh, that's his name, is Alexei. Alexei.
His anglicized name is Lex Friedman, I think.
Right.
But his real name is Alexei Fedorov.
Okay, nice. Thank you, man. Thank you for the information.
He's a Russian Jew, very intelligent. But the guy's practically a genius.
Yeah.
Tremendous physicist, tremendous mathematician, and he's ridiculously polite. It's just a joy to listen to him.
Yeah.
The President, I'm pretty sure it will be interesting for you to hear it. President Zelensky was completely out of his mind. I had to listen to it twice to make sure that I actually heard it the right way. A lot of people disagree with President Putin, but you have to have some level of respect. You can't just, he called him Uncle Vova, which is a very derogatory term. And I honestly, I don't even think that President Zelensky has any idea about Europe at all. Pretty much everything he said in that interview is wrong.
Wow.
And it's so wrong, even he can't justify it. They talked about Crimea and how the Russians took it in 2014. And Mr. Hake, I want to tell you something about that. The Soviet Union fell in 1991, and Russians regain their presence in Crimea in 2014, which is pretty much 23 years. Mr. Hake, do you know how? Keep in mind, Crimea is pretty much the most important peninsula and the most important harbor in that area. For 23 years of independence, do you know how many buildings the Ukrainians built in that region?
I don't know.
0.
So they built nothing.
Years,
they just sat on it.
Absolutely nothing.
So they were bums. Wow. It's kind of like the master who gave a certain number of talents to one, a certain number to another, and a certain number to another. And the person who did nothing with the talents or money or whatever it was, talent, it might be a name for an item of money. And
No, I understand.
he
what you
squandered it. So they were,
mean. They just,
wow,
Yeah,
that's a
go ahead.
warning.
yeah, they didn't do nothing with any of it. The buildings were just left. They used them, of course,
Right.
because they're pretty much at the coastal line. Those were important buildings. They didn't even renovate them. They just let them like they were, which is ridiculous.
And how many how many decades or what span of years did they have it and do nothing with it?
From 1991 until 2014,
Wow.
23 years, not a single brick laid there.
Wow.
And they claim that this land was theirs. It wasn't. The other Friedman. I'm sorry, Miss Hake. Just
Yeah.
Miss Friedman.
No, go for it. I
that's
like you using the name that you used. I like that name.
Yeah, because mostly I'm listening to him, and he introduced himself with his real name.
Nice.
So that's why it's in my mind.
Yeah.
And he asked a very, very important question. He asked President Zelensky, who's not a Christian, Fedotov is not a Christian either. Both of them are Jews.
Right.
He asked him, will there ever be forgiveness between the two people, between the Russian people and between the Ukrainian people?
Yeah.
And President Zelensky said he doesn't know, but unlikely it will be in this generation. They will have to, 2 or 3 generations, which is pretty much a no, because within 2 or 3 generations, there will be another conflict.
Wow.
It's a never-ending cycle, and this is completely ridiculous. He asked him if President Zelensky will ever run again for president, and he said that he doesn't know. I don't think he's going to run for president. I think because he's tremendously wealthy. He purchased a remarkable castle in Italy.
Wow.
And it's a pretty big one.
Was that during the time of the war that he bought this?
I think last year.
Oh, wow. So during the war, he did he get rich during the war, or was he rich prior to the war?
He was an absolute millionaire prior to the war. He was very successful, and he was tremendously rich. Very rich way before the war.
So he was. I know that he was a comedian. He was like a sort of a TV star or something, right?
He was probably the most successful TV star in Russia.
Okay.
Maybe more than 20 years.
So he's one of those handsome, sort of smart to be rich, successful Jews in Ukraine.
Well, let's be honest. He is a pretty good-looking man. He's charming. He's charismatic.
Yep.
And he's very intelligent.
He looks just like Anchor Baby.
No, I think the Anchor Baby looks better.
Okay, right.
But
his wife is pretty too, by the way.
Well, I mean, she's a Slavic woman. All of them are good-looking, and all of them are hell. So,
nice.
Yeah. But no, he was a lawyer, and he was tremendously successful as a lawyer. That's how he got into show business.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
He's absurdly smart.
Yeah.
Zelensky is, yeah. He can. You can say a lot of things about him, but he's definitely not stupid.
Yeah.
He's probably insane.
Insane is what you said. Yeah.
Yeah, but only a person can act that way. War or no war, I'm not sure, Mr. Hake, if you saw what he did in December last year with a diplomat called Antonio Guterres. He's a Portuguese diplomat in the European Union, an absolute genius.
Guterres.
Are you familiar with the story?
No.
Guterres, yes.
That guy's one of the top UN guys. I recognize that
name. President Zelensky refused to shake Guterres' hands because he shook hands with Putin.
Oh, wow.
That is emotions aside, at that level, that's completely crazy. I recommend you watch the whole interview, even the Russian part, because there are English subtitles.
Okay.
I didn't need them because I understand the language, but
Awesome.
he acted like an absolute drunken peasant. That kind of language is not suitable for an entry-level government employee, let alone the president.
Interesting.
This was crazy.
Yeah.
And again, Mr. Hake, I'm not sure if he's playing a role because he's a talented actor, or he simply lost his mind. Well, whichever it is, it's going to be very bad from the Ukrainian people. It's going to get worse, way worse than what it is today.
That's crazy, man. That's interesting. Even Kevin Howe in the chat is saying Zelensky, and Kevin Howe, as you may know, supports the Ukraine, over Russia. He says Zelensky is.
Chat.
Oh, good for you, man. That no wonder you're so mature. He says Zelensky is not ideal.
No one is ideal. Putin is not ideal.
True.
With all his flaws, keep in mind that because I'm watching.
Because you're not a fan of Putin at all. This is why it's. I think of you as like
Absolutely.
a fair-minded assessor of the situation over there.
I can be a lot of things. Fan of Russia is not one of them, but you have to acknowledge that this is a huge landmass. Russia is pretty much 16% of the world's mass. That's a lot of territory.
Yeah, wow.
And the fact that he's been able to control it for over 25 years, that's quarter of a century.
Yeah.
There are adults in Russia who've never seen anyone else but him. And he's doing a pretty good job considering what he has. Keep in mind, he inherited an absolute swine house. He got it bad when he got here. Russia is still a terrible place. It's always going to be, and it always will be. But it's better for the Russians right now. He's not a stupid man, President Putin. Regardless whether you like him or not, you have to acknowledge that it's not easy to control that kind of mass.
Yeah.
Also, I'm watching your program and I'm watching Mr. Peterson's program. Keep in mind that not in your sense, but in European sense, President Putin is and always will be a liberal.
Oh, wow.
He is considered a liberal by European standards.
Right.
And the biggest battle President Putin had during that time was with his own generals and with his own admirals, who are considered at the right side of politics.
Oh, wow.
Because if they had it their way, we wouldn't be having this conversation because President Zelensky would be dead along with everyone in his country. They were prepared to level the whole place. The only reason Ukraine exists on the map is because that Putin wanted to rule as a Russian ruler. He wanted to rule Russians. That's all he wanted to. Between 95 and 97% of the population of the areas from Ukraine that he's controlling now are Russian people, ethnic Russians with ethnic Russian language. And this is how he's able to maintain those territories. It's very easy to maintain a territory where 97% of the people are welcoming you.
Interesting.
So I really encourage you to hear what this tremendously smart but obviously insane little man had to say.
Okay.
And I think it will be interesting for you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, as always. Denny in Bulgaria.
Likewise. And with that said, Mr. Hake, again, I wish you all the best for 2025. Kind regards to your audience and your viewers and your colleagues. God be with you, sir.
Thank you. You as well, Denny in Bulgaria. Take care.
Take care. Bye, sir.
Bye. And Terry in Oregon on the line over here. Terry, I was chuckling as I was talking with Denny because I had just said earlier this week or last week or whenever, 2 weeks ago, whatever, that Russia's not that big. And then I think you told me Russia's massive, Hake. I'm like, okay, it's
I might
big.
have. I don't remember.
Okay, maybe somebody else told me.
Pretty big.
Yeah. I just know that with the world maps, a lot of the northern stuff, it gets kind of stretched out because the lines of longitude are come scrunched together, and when they straighten them out, it expands the look of what it looks like, but it's really not as big as what it looks like on flattened maps because the world is an obvious globe. So that's why I said what I said about Russia not being that big, but it is big. And Canada and other things.
Russia like the biggest country?
I think it is. I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like land-wise, not
That's right.
top, but well, yeah. I used to be able to see it from my house, so I'm pretty fond of it.
Oh, you used to live in beautiful Sarah Palin land?
Yes, beautiful, balmy Alaska.
Cool. I didn't know that.
I think I mentioned it before, but that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I don't.
Anyway.
You know me. I don't listen. Okay, so 6.62 million square miles. Canada's 3.85 million square miles. China 3.7 million square miles. Brazil 3.28. Australia 2.9. India 1.2. Argentina 1.07. Wow, Argentina's bigger than where's America? But anyway, okay, nice.
Yeah, we're pretty big too.
Yeah, I don't see America listed over here.
Where's USA?
I guess they don't care about us. Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's true. We don't need to be cared about.
So I called you about the racism test that I found online.
Oh,
Someone
really?
recommended it to me. I don't know if you've ever taken it. It's just like I typed in racism test into Google, and it was the first thing that popped up, and I took it. It was very interesting. So I wanted, I guess, your take on it, or just to see if you had taken it before.
No, I hadn't
you
heard of
taken
this,
it?
I don't think.
Oh, dang. Well, I didn't do very well. I only am 77% racist.
Oh, really?
Overall.
You're 77% racist?
I know.
I believe that. Okay, so you're trying to get to 100%?
I don't know that I'm trying to get to 100%. I just answered it genuinely.
Okay. Yeah.
I think there were about 20 questions it asked, and they're all very interesting questions.
Yeah.
But I don't know. A lot of them I didn't think had anything to do with racism. So, or whatever, and I don't know what I think about even that term anymore.
Right.
But
so in the past, when you were a communist, you might have scored even poorer. More poorly.
Probably, but I don't know. A lot of them were really stupid questions. They asked multiple questions about whether it was okay to depict people having accents that weren't white. Like, they asked multiple questions about that. I'm like, why is it wrong to depict people who aren't white having accents?
Yeah, right.
Because I've met a lot of white people that have, or not, well, I've met white people that have accents too. I mean, everybody has an accent, but I've met a lot of non-white people that have accents. And, like, if you're trying to have representative media, why wouldn't you show people that have accents?
Yeah, duh.
And if you think immigration is okay, why wouldn't you depict people having accents?
Yep. I mean,
it's all very confusing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But
I'm not surprised
really
that you didn't do. I'm not surprised that you only got a C on this test because you're Irish. There's no breaking it.
What does my Irishness have to do with it?
That means you're not that white, so you're not that racist.
So, I don't understand exactly what about the Irish you find not white. Is it maybe like, did they interbreed with peoples like in the past?
That's part of it, but it was not what I was thinking. That is like another sign of the not being that white. But
Are you talking about like modernly, because so many of them participate in race mixing?
A lot of them get, no, I wasn't even thinking about the interracial marriage thing. I was thinking about how they identify with their being Irish.
Well, I mean, that's pretty common of people who are descendants of like immigrants. I mean, you know, and also Irish were not really welcome. So when you segregate people or kind of differentiate them, they're going to have a stronger identity. That's why the blacks are so into the black thing, and like, you know, people compensate for perceived slights or being left out by, you know, developing kind of a chip on their shoulder or like a strong sense of pride.
Yeah, but they create their own world. That's why they're treated like that. And then because they're treated like that, it only caused them, like what you said, to react that way. But I don't think they realize how different they are from the normal whites.
Well, there were numerous cultural differences, and when
right,
like mass
Catholic
Irish immigration, the Catholic thing, having larger families,
drinking, committing crimes,
Hake,
being lowbrow.
Hake.
What?
Irish are not the only people that drink alcohol.
I know, but they like, it's part of their culture. Like it is like considered.
Okay, but aren't you like English? They have pub culture too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and I mean, people drink themselves silly there, and like people
in England.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a shame.
I mean, it's disgusting how much people drink.
That's true.
I don't think it's just an Irish thing, but I think Irish. I mean, I don't know.
But it is an Irish thing.
Around the pub, a lot. It's like the center of the community.
Nobody said it's just an Irish thing, but it is an Irish thing.
And yeah, people do drink on like St. Patrick's Day to celebrate.
Yeah. So I was teasing a bit about the 70% thing, but there's definitely some truth to it. You know that you're only 70% racist per this test.
77%.
Oh, 77. It's still a C.
Yeah, but they differentiate by like types of racism, so you can find out like you know, where you're more racist than others. And my highest score was sociohistoric racism. So I'm 80% socio-historic racist, which was pretty cool.
Explain this phrase, socio-historic. I could probably figure it out, but I think it'd be entertaining.
I've never heard it before.
Okay.
I didn't look it up, but I'm pretty sure it just means like you don't accept like whatever the narrative is about, or you know, the accepted history now that, you know, people were just pressed because of their color, and you know, they've been treated unfairly because of their color throughout history because of like prejudice or stuff like that.
So you denied that it was because of their color?
Yeah, I think it's deeper than that.
Right. It was just kind of like
more
our
about,
little
like all kinds of differences. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like our argument about the Irish.
Mm.
And the drinking thing among the English, maybe that's why we hated the Irish so much. We English maybe hated the Irish so much because we saw them drinking and we said, what clowns? Meanwhile, we're drinking, and it's what we hate about the Irish or what we hate about ourselves.
Yeah, well, I think it's just, I mean, in England, I mean, Irish people, because they were so easily, you know, colonized, and you know, they tended to be there. I mean, they were just seen as lesser for many different reasons, and I mean, for one, being colonized by England, and then also like their language being different, and just not having the same level of industry or that kind of thing. And they're just more simple people, you know, in a lot of ways. I mean, they did have and have had civilization, and they've contributed very strongly to it, which is, I think, another reason why Irish people are so, like, you know, I don't know, into their identity, because, like, you know, we have contributed so well to the world and culture, and been scholars and, you know, very important people. But, but still, we get no respect.
Right.
And you know what? And where would America be without the Irish? I mean, you talked about, like, crime, but, like, the Irish became, like, the, you know, most of the police force in many parts of the country.
I know. Isn't that wild? That's interesting.
So you know what? That's another way. I think about this too a lot, and maybe I'm getting off on another tangent here, but, like, police and criminals have a lot in common.
Indeed.
You know, opposites always have a lot in common. People who are, like, in opposition to one another tend to have similar traits, because you notice, like, the same traits that make somebody a good criminal may also would make somebody a good police officer.
Yeah. True.
Or, yeah. So, you know, people are a lot more similar than we think.
They say firemen start fires too, sometimes.
Well, I'm sure they have a fascination with fire, or the power of it would draw somebody to being a fire person.
Yeah.
A fireman or a fireman woman.
Or a fire lesbian. Sorry, kids, ladies.
I can't believe I heard that word on the Hake report.
That's because that's what our fire chief is, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I'm so sorry what y'all are going through. Like, how's the air? How's the water? Do you have to, like, drink bottled water now, or? Oh,
that's a good question. I've been drinking the filtered tap water as normal. In fact, I'm thirsty right now.
Shouldn't drink the water right now?
They might have said that. I didn't catch that if they did. But I did take the fact that the air is slightly smoky as an excuse not to go out and take my walk and jog and exercise. And I'm looking forward to Saturday when I can get down to the beach way down in San Clemente, hoping that San Diego is not on fire too. So we'll see what happens. But, yeah, but we're doing fine, I think.
All right. Yeah, it is a mess. I did see that Oregon is sending down, like, 12 different teams to help.
That's kind.
I don't know what that will do.
I know, huh? You know what's crazy? I was right. You know how I'm ignorant, but I just speculate about things because I kind of know what the culture is?
Mm-hmm.
For example, this vaccine, how they were mandating that everybody get these different flu shot and vax for the China virus and stuff.
The schmaxine.
Yeah. I just got through arguing, like, last month that I believe that they're getting rid of their best people among cops, among the military and all that, because they're getting rid of the independent thinkers who don't necessarily want to fall in line with the vaccine, for example, you know, the China virus one. And I heard that they fired a lot of people, men, who didn't get the schmacks, and they're healthy men who probably didn't need it, you know, and wouldn't have passed anything.
And now they're putting in, like, weak, sickly DEI people.
And now they're hurting for people. The military is hurting for people. Cops, maybe. The fire departments. It's like anti-white, anti-man, anti-independent thinker. The independent thinkers are sometimes the best, no matter what race, or even the women independent thinkers. They're not welcome. So. Indeed.
Oh, shoot. There was something else I wanted to mention that happened. Right. You were so you were referring to that guy who was R-wording his fellow inmates under the guise of being female.
Yep.
Years ago, I got in trouble at a former job that I had because I was not using they, them pronouns for some of my coworkers.
Ooh, wow.
So I had a disciplinary, like, talk.
This is when you were
disciplinary talk.
When you were a communist, you got in trouble?
Yeah, I did. Well, I was always anti-trans. I was a TERF.
Oh, trans
Yeah.
exclusionary, but radical feminist.
Yes.
Dang, I didn't know that about you. So
Yes,
you're a rebel no matter what. You just don't get along with anybody.
That's
I mean,
true. A lot
in
of it
sort of
had
a good
to
way,
do with
maybe.
that. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I really figured that stuff out really early on, like
About
in
the
my
transgender stuff.
yeah. I knew it was like really bogus, and I don't
Wow,
know
I
how you
disavow.
can think about it. Well, anyway, it's interesting. So I did not. I would not. I told them I felt like very uncomfortable using those kind of pronouns for people, or like using. I also got in trouble for not using the correct pronouns for trans people as well, because I did work with some I worked with an FTM, and I worked with like a they them person, and I just called these people their name when I referred to them. So I didn't refer to them. Like one of them was a man, the they them was a man, but I referred to him as, his name. And then the female that was transitioned at the time, I referred to her, by her name.
Right.
So they were noticing, and I also they got on my Twitter. This is part of like me getting off of Twitter as well.
Oh.
But like one of my coworkers had seen my Twitter and seen that like I was against this stuff. And so we had this big conversation with my like district manager and my manager and some other guy. And basically they made me agree to not use pronouns for any person so that I wouldn't be discriminating against the trans identified people.
That's so funny.
It was crazy.
It
but
is.
I had to I had to figure out and like stop myself from saying she or her or him.
You had to do what I do. You had to say this person.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I had to refer to everybody by their name only.
Dang.
And that went on for like, I don't know, maybe another 8 months before I left that job. Yeah.
Very interesting.
So, it's interesting. Yeah. I mean, they did. It was interesting, like the ways of not only like pressuring people who like think differently, but like also like, the ways that you can get around it and like get away with also keeping your level of integrity about things.
Yeah.
But I ran into that female like a couple of years later, and she was detransitioning, and she was like,
oh, wow.
I know, thank God, right? But so much damage had already been done to her, and she was so young. She'd had her breast removed, and like she'd been on testosterone for many years, and like,
I think I think that
she can't lift her like arms above her head.
Whoa.
Because of the scar tissue and like effects
it would
of, like,
stretch
having.
It would stretch that area too much or something.
Well, I mean, you can't amputate healthy tissue without having consequences.
Yeah.
Like,
dang.
And these people are just like railroaded into it so fast and so young. They don't know they're so finite and their body isn't like repairing a car,
True.
And even a car you can't always repair, but like a human body is like, it's not going to heal the way you need it to. And that's why, we don't cut ourselves unless we absolutely have to.
Yeah. They say avoid surgery and surgery even on the innards, even if it's minor cuts. Wow. JLP, I believe, has counseled many people who've gone through different things like that with their bodies being changed in different ways, things that their mothers have pushed on them and all kinds of stuff. And people have called in to the radio show and he's talked to them. And so there's always hope for you can still have a life even after you've messed up, and it is messed up, your physical body with these different things. So there's always hope.
Yeah, but it's so tragic to have all these young women, like, who, if they ever have children, they won't be able to, like, breastfeed or, like,
It's
you know.
if there is a
And
crime,
many of them have been sterilized as well.
Right.
So, like, they're never going to have children, and they're only, like, in their early 20s. It's sick.
I don't like the word crime against humanity because it sounds like a liberal word, but I would call it a crime against humanity.
Well, it is if you're, like, taking a certain portion of the population and sterilizing them.
Right.
Like, we're taking them out of the breeding pool. And honestly, when I was a communist, I was all, like, speculating, like, oh, they want to take a certain portion of these people out because they want to, like, control, like, you know, the whatever. But now I just think there's a agenda to stop people from breeding generally so that they can replace us.
Well, there's all kinds of insanity that's accepted as right. So whatever the motive, it's evil. Wow, interesting, Terry. So you were a conspiracy theorist as a commie. That's funny.
I mean, most are. I mean, you know.
I didn't know that. Well,
don't
because they
think-
don't get their way, and when you don't get your way, you become a conspiracy theorist about it. Losers,
Yeah.
the losing side becomes conspiracy theorist. You saw them go crazy speculating about why Trump won, and then you saw the Trump supporters speculating about why Trump lost, and it's always been that way. So the people who are marginalized, the communists, the Nazis, the flat earthers, they become conspiracy theorists about everything. It's human nature.
Yeah, and I mean, there are a lot of conspiracies going on. Like,
Some are real. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but I think, too, I mean, the devil is just busy and doing whatever he can to destroy, you know.
That's a fact.
Yeah, so, like, a lot of it is just, you know, evil working where it can and taking whoever, you know, will be used to further that cause. So
The chat was bothered because you haven't laughed once this call, and I made a really funny joke about, oh, you only got a C because you're Irish, and you didn't laugh. You were not
that's
amused.
not funny.
And I've been laughing more than you. So I got to run, Terry.
There was a little chuckle.
Right.
but
A charity chuckle from Terry for the chat.
I can't, like, I have to laugh genuinely. Like, what do they want?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I don't know.
I'm laughing
like-
because Elsa says Hake throwing flat earthers in with Nazis. He passive aggressive tendencies. I don't know. I don't have any judgment against Nazis, commies, or flat earthers. And if I do, I'm wrong. Well, thank you, Terry. Appreciate
Yeah.
Great call. Appreciate hearing from
All
you.
right. Take care. Bye.
All right. You too. And John in Alabama, first time caller. Thank you for calling and holding, man. How you doing?
Good morning.
Hey. Morning.
All is well.
Cool. It is morning for Alabama still too, huh?
Yes, it is.
Central time, I
yeah.
think. Not the docs.
Real quick, how are you guys doing with the fire and whatnot? You probably already covered it, but are y'all anywhere around all that or no?
We are around it. I mean, it's all around us, but it's not. It's not in and among us yet, and I don't think that it will. But I've been surprised by how close it's gotten. I heard that it hit Santa Monica. I have not seen that necessarily, but I did hear that it hit Santa Monica, which is crazy to me. And for Joelle to evacuate, it's not like Joelle's up in the hills, not exactly. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So Joel's I'm assuming is a team member. And
yeah,
he
Joel
was
Friday's
impacted.
on the. He's one of the radio show hosts, and he helps out.
Yeah, and I listen off and on, Hake. And by the way, the previous caller, what you said about the conspiracy theorist and human nature, the loser kind of defaults to that. That was pretty insightful.
Yeah,
I did get a chuckle at that.
Right on.
I don't want to bring us into a really heavy conversation, although it is a heavy subject. do you, and I respect your sort of opinion, right? Apart from JLP, and I do know what he would say.
Nice.
At least historically. I don't know where he is on the topic, sort of current.
Sure.
How do you, like, I am in the process of a divorce. I am somebody who's forgiven my mom, forgiven my dad, apologized for resenting them, silent prayer in the morning, silent prayer at night, and I'm not in control of the outcome. Right now, the only thing that the choice that I have to make is filling out the document with regard to custody of the kids. There's, and I can give information. I mean, I could just say generally they're very young.
Yeah.
It's a boy and a girl. But I have like the paperwork on my kitchen table, and I have to, what's your preference? They're asking me what my preference is in the document.
Oh, your preference in terms of, they're just asking your preference.
Well, I mean, it's not really. This is the opportunity for me to express my preference, right?
Right.
And I'm guessing. I haven't gone through this. I mean, you probably have a better understanding of the sequence.
I don't.
Of how this. Yeah.
No, I had no idea that on the form. I mean, it would make sense. I hadn't really thought about it or considered it. I know that JLP has talked with and counseled and talked on the radio show with many men and women going through divorce.
Sure.
And so he would be more familiar with the sequence and all that than I would. I don't.
And I don't look. I'm not holding you to.
No, I'm not shying away from an opinion. I'm just interested.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, so me and you both agree we can give him all the superlatives, that he's deserving. But I know that from biblical, and I respect him and love him, is humanly possible. But in biblical context of this question, there's the verse in Proverbs: "In the presence of many counselors, plans will not go astray." And so I'm just talking to people, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you right now to ask, because I don't have to go back and give all the spiritual. I'm on board with, like I said, the silent prayer. I can't control the outcome. I'm okay with that. I'm trying to relax in God's love, watch the thoughts, and not let the thoughts lead to emotions, etc. Right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a conversation that, I mean, nobody else besides you guys, my wife, really soon to be ex-wife, really has the context for that, right? So I don't want to spend time talking about, well, how are you doing? Did you forgive your mom? Are you praying? Or you're in the silent prayer? I can check those boxes. But I'm want to sort of narrow in. I have this form where I can either agree or disagree. So she's asking for full custody. And I either say agree or disagree.
Uh-huh.
If I agree, then I may never see the kids. It's at her discretion.
Right.
If I disagree, then the courts will decide.
Ah.
Yeah. So I asked because I don't know where you guys are or where you are specifically. Just, not holding you to it. I don't want to feel like you have to. I'm going to take your advice in isolation. Okay. But here's an opportunity. I'm going to lay it at your feet. And do you have an opinion about? I'm okay with asking for custody, and I would like to see the kids just because I was sort of thinking it's probably the best thing to do considering the options. I don't think just letting them completely go and me, not having any contact is I'm thinking that may not be right, but I also understand where Jesse has said, if your wife, fights you over him, just let her go. Let him go. So I'll be quiet unless you have another follow-up question.
I might have a couple of questions.
Okay.
But let me say, if it costs you nothing to say on this form that you prefer to have custody, either full custody or 50-50 or whatever thing like that, put down your preference. And if the courts can decide without you spending a dime rather than letting her decide, then I don't see what's wrong with doing that.
Cool.
I wouldn't.
Cool, okay.
I agree with Jesse about not blowing any money in the courts.
Gotcha.
You're contributing to the racket. It's a whole racket. It's a scam. You're paying the courts to be corrupt against men. Basically, when you pay, and you're paying lawyers
I agree.
So I wouldn't spend a dime on that stuff. For those who are confused, the caller here, John, is divorcing his wife, or she's divorcing him, and they have young children, and she wants full custody, and he has on this form to respond whether he agrees to that and let her have it, or no, I want the courts to decide. And I'm suggesting he say, no, let the courts decide, since it sounds like you prefer, you just said you don't want her to have full custody, you want to have it a little bit.
Okay, so another biblical perspective that I've heard Jesse talked about is, you can't cut the kids in half.
Right.
And I think, and I think he's referring to the story where you have the two women, and there's a dispute over there's an infant, whose child, and they went to Solomon and the king, and I think the king said,
he didn't say you can't cut the child in half, Jesse. He said don't cut the baby in half.
Don't.
Yeah.
Okay. So, finish. Is that story right, Hake? How did it go?
Well, Solomon was saying, since these two women can't agree on whose baby it is, he said, okay, I'll cut the baby in half, and you each get half the baby. And the woman whose baby it was not said, yeah, cut it in half. And the woman whose baby it was, because she loved her baby and didn't want the baby to be cut in half, she let the baby be taken by the evil woman, rather than cut the baby in half. And so it may be love to let your baby go, your children go. So for that reason, it may be wise just to let her have it.
Well,
since you already messed up and got with a woman who is divorcing you, you already.
No, I hear your logic. Let me throw this back at you.
Yeah.
That was between two women.
You were a woman when you married your woman? Spiritually?
I went into
that's marriage. Between two women. Oh, in the Bible story.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And
were you a woman when you married your woman?
No, but
since
I was
brought
part
it
of
up.
the conception. I was part of the conception, actively involved in both instances.
Okay, but you were alpha man.
I'm just a man.
Okay.
It's in God's care. Yeah.
All right. So you weren't wrong for getting with this evil woman? That's what my point was.
I was. No, I was. I say wrong. I acted with the knowledge that I had. We met online, and I know that would probably disqualify me from Jesse's. I went looking for something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's probably and that's a conversation I would have with him at some point.
Nice.
Just from the standpoint of, he has a video. If you remember when the MGTOW, men going their own way, was sort of a thing, and he has a video on that, and he's really aggressive toward telling men not to fall to that sort of attitude.
Yeah,
You don't just
well,
give
not to
up.
fall for the victimhood and anger aspect of MGTOW. Yeah.
And overcome.
You can go your own way and not deal with women necessarily. Not get with another woman. In fact, after this divorce, I would, especially since you have kids, but also just since you're a Christian, I wouldn't remarry. I don't believe in divorce and remarriage.
No, no, and I'm glad you mentioned that. I agree. It's a relief to hear the guidance from y'all as a team on it's best to wait until your kids are grown. I mean, this is abandonment, right? I didn't want the divorce.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't anything that I did that would fall into a legal category for separation. This is just I'm working on myself, but I would think that she's not on board with sort of the spiritual leadership. So if it comes to me and I try to pass it to her and she rejects it, then there's nothing I can do. You understand?
Yeah.
So but I agree with you. To finish your thought, I'm sorry. That I'm not going to pursue marriage, nor would I entertain the idea until my kids are grown. Even though that I've been abandoned, I'm going to rest in. I feel like
meaning your wife abandoned you. Is that what you mean by abandoned? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, there may be, for biblical grounds, there may be an open opportunity. But if I get custody, or partial custody, I'll have my hands full. And I'm quite candidly, I'm sort of, I'm turned off the idea of remarriage. So I'm going to give I'm going to try his first suggestion on the, if you're divorced and you've got kids, wait till they're grown before you consider the idea of. I'm going to try that. And
I'm curious why you even have that in your mind, because that sounds like you're thinking about the future and thinking about getting with another woman, and you can't wait for your kids to grow up. Almost.
No.
Am I misreading you?
Good question. No, yeah, I think you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, MGTOW means, for those who don't know, MGTOW, MGTOW, is men going their own way, which is not what this caller is. He knows about it.
Correct.
Somebody in the chat thinks that you're just wanting permission to leave your children, but that's not what I'm getting from you.
No, sir.
It sounds like you kind of want to get your kid. It sounds like you kind of want at least partial custody of your kids. Would you prefer to have full custody? I'm curious. In short, just a yes or no.
No.
Okay. Wow. So you wouldn't want full custody of your kids? No.
Their mother's not. I mean, I don't. I'm trying to advocate for the kids. I'm not really advocating for me. I'm thinking.
Isn't that what they all say, though? Are you sure?
Put me. I'm ready to go to put me on the stand.
Yeah. Put your hand on the Bible and swear.
Yeah. No, so I work from home full time. I have a desk job. I'm 50, and I've been saving for a long time so that I could be a traditional family.
All for naught.
All for naught. That's right.
The best laid plans go astray. Something like that. As the Jews rightly say, man plans and God laughs. I don't know if they're right, but
that's right.
But it's
sure.
Some truth to it, I think. Facts to it.
Well, yeah. So I don't mind you asking at all. And did I answer your question?
I forget what my question was. Oh, you want full custody. You don't want full custody. You want the best for the kids. The best for the kids seems like it would be full custody, but the second best is maybe giving her full custody.
if having a father and a mother is ideal, I'll share it like this. Both my mom and dad worked when I was growing up, and I didn't really have much contact with them because of that. And I stayed with my grandparents, my dad's parents, often, like all the summer, most of the holidays. Neither one of them, they were both retired, and neither one of them worked. And that felt more like family, not because, and it certainly wasn't financial. It was fellowship. They're both Christians, active Christians. And the fondest memories I had as a child and the love that I still feel for them was for my grandparents. Now, I'm grateful to my mom and dad, and I've forgiven them for, they did the best they could. They could help it. I apologize for resenting them. But there was, I would say that there were two breadwinners, but there was nobody giving fellowship and care of the children at home.
So your grandparents were the ones who gave you the love, the quote-unquote love, not your parents.
No.
Oh, okay. That's what you were saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so I'm in a situation where I'm home. The house is set up for a family. My wife knew that I wanted to homeschool before we got married. We covered certain things and goals that I had for the family, Lord willing, God permitting, and homeschooling was one of them. And so I want to be involved with the kids just to continue with that goal of being a good father. And I know there's a slippery slope there. Is it ego you're talking about?
It is.
Yeah, I understand. I
remember I went into a relationship one time, not wanting to leaving her better off than how I found her. Like that type of thing. Wanted to be a good.
Yeah.
That's not a good. That's like intentions, and intentions are evil. You know what I mean? That's just like an emotional attachment to an idea that sounds nice, but you're not. Meanwhile, you're living wrong, and it's ending in divorce, and it's a mess.
Yes.
It's God is not your God. You put this idea up that sounds good, to be a good father, family man, set their lives up, set the family's life up, but that's not. God wasn't your God. You were distracted. I don't know what happened. You got with this evil woman. You're evil, right?
Well, you can't.
The good intention was the wrong intention because you're not supposed to have that intention. You're just supposed to pray without ceasing.
Yes.
Do you see how? Do you see how? Does that make sense? That praying without ceasing versus having an intention. Do you see how those two things are in conflict? Do you see how? Do you see what I'm trying to say? That having this intention of being this good father was a setup, an evil setup, a wolf in sheep's clothing setup. It sounded good, but it wasn't.
No, I disagree.
Then how come it didn't turn out well?
This is part. I think this is. We're not going to find a Bible verse, I don't think, that would explicitly say how I'm supposed to answer the question. Do I agree or disagree with the custody?
Do you need a Bible? Oh no, but I'm asking about this intention thing. You having this intention was a setup. You tricked yourself.
I don't. I think it's a matter of. No, I think it's a matter of prudence.
I think it was a matter of pride. Don't you think? Could it be?
I don't think so.
You wanted to be prudent. You thought you were trying to want to be righteous. It's like what Joel Friday has talked about have you ever heard Joel Friday talking about wanting to be righteous and how that was all like a misguided pride thing?
Hang on. Now, this is you can't go to. I wouldn't go to cliche or rely on. I think, and this is probably something we can't work out if you need to go to a break or something. But
I don't take breaks.
Okay. And by the way, thank you for talking to me with this.
Yeah.
I would say that I'm not saying that my decision was right or wrong. It was a decision.
What decision?
Just like with any of the.
I'm not talking about any decision. I'm talking about the intention. I'm stuck on the intention that you had to be this good family man father. And you hearkened back to your days because you had this trauma, if you will, of your parents working, and so you wanted to do the opposite. It was kind of like if you will go with me, if you'll excuse my strong language, it was a rebellion against what your parents did. It wasn't God. It was not a God led thing. It was an emotion led thing from memories from your childhood and what you thought would have been right.
I would certainly not discount what you're saying, but I think there's other things to add.
Definitely. Yeah, there's always more going on. You never know what all people are going through, for sure. I'm not taking that away.
Well, but I think this is not unique to me. I think if I were to share, everybody's got a childhood.
Right, but...
Okay, well, hold up, Mr. Hake. Hold up.
All right.
All right, so let's talk about the universal principles. Everybody has a childhood. If you're a man and you have a sexual desire, the Bible says there's one way to satisfy that desire biblically, and that's marriage. And then, if you get married, then you'd be willing to have kids and take on responsibilities being a father to those kids. So I think those are universal biblical principles.
Those aren't principles, but those are universal or very common experiences. Everybody is a kid at some point, and then many people become fathers and are supposed to raise their kids, ideally.
Well, and biblically, God's given us sexual desire, and if you don't have sexual desire, it's not wrong. It's not wrong, but I think that's the minority experience.
Okay.
Like if you're indifferent to sex.
But what does all this have to do with the setup of your intention not to be like your parents, but to be a good father in a good home and working from home and having enough money and her not needing to work and stuff like that?
I had the trauma from my childhood. I was denying my sexuality, and I was denying.
Oh.
I had the means, and obviously I'm physically, God's given me the ability to procreate. And only He can create life. So up until my 40s, I was bitter toward marriage. I was so upset with the trauma, and after I got over that, I was, and I felt God. I think God put it in my heart. He helped me get over it, and then I just realized that He had provided the resources so that I could do, and maybe it's because I didn't have enough faith. I didn't have it within my heart or the confidence in myself when I was younger, because I didn't really have problems with financial responsibility, but I didn't know if I could do it as a single. I didn't really consider it. I knew I couldn't do it as a single income family. But then in my late 40s, I was really wired in well by God's grace to provide comfortably for my family, and I went most of my adult life fighting the idea of being a husband or father. So,
and it was because of how bad how bad it was with your parents having to work and whatever other spiritual evil things were going on.
I mean, they would show up and wore out. I mean, you worked back in
so they were working and fighting. Working and fighting.
They were working and fighting, and they were exhausted
and tired.
Tired, yeah.
Okay.
So, but hey, I don't want the audience or you to. I mean, I'm not sharing this stuff to solicit pity or empathy or anything like that.
Oh, you're not getting any.
Okay, good.
You're getting smeared in the chat, but don't worry about the chat. And I find you very relatable, but I don't know if you understand my point about whatever intention you may have had. You failed. And right? I think you failed. I think I could be wrong. Maybe it's all her fault.
No. I think I mean, we can cover what precipitated.
No, we don't have to. I encourage you, do what you want with regard to that form. Even do what you want if you want to get a lawyer. But it sounds like you agree with me and Jesse about not bothering, not paying a cent.
No, I'm not. I'm representing myself.
Yeah, and if you want to get private counseling with JLP, or you want to talk with him on air, you can do either and or both of those things, or neither if you don't want to.
Where are you guys?
Los Angeles. But counseling can be done. What do you mean, where are we?
I mean, yeah, sorry.
We're in the kingdom of heaven, maybe.
Yeah, that's right. No, I was just I know it may not your advice may not translate to each and every instance, but generally, if somebody has pen in hand and they can put it on the paper where no, I don't ever want to see my kids, or yes, I would like to have. I think you answered it. I think you said if it doesn't cost you anything, if you're not contributing to the status quo with the way the legal system's skewed, then go ahead and say, hey, I'd like to have as much time with my kids as possible. I think did I hear you correctly on that?
Yeah. The only thing is the only other thing that I can think of is let's say you don't want to have to bother showing up to court. If saying no, I want my kids means you have to show up to court and say you don't want to show up to court for whatever reason, that's a valid reason to let her have it.
I gotcha. Yeah, and I don't mind showing up
because let's say she has full custody. You do right. She could end up. It's like the sun. The Aesop's fables of the sun versus the wind. The wind is blowing hard, trying to get the man to take off his jacket, but the sun is just sitting there shining, and the sun shining makes the man take off his jacket. You want this woman to shed her kids and let you have them a little bit. Maybe I don't know. That will do it better than fighting for them in even this form.
No, I gotcha. I think the not knowing, we're speculating, right? As far as I've got to
totally, I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll probably put on the form for the audience, and by the way, I mean for the chat, in the chat.
Who cares about the chat, man?
No, it's fine. I let them go at it. I hope I've given them. If them chatting and making the comments helps them in some way, then I'm glad I could be of service to give them material.
The courts weren't
But
fair
as
to
far-
Trump. They tried to bury Trump. They're going to try to bury you.
Man, it's okay. I mean, everybody's got to, they got to take their own road. So I would say my attitude about the court is that I would feel a little better with having the judge, who's supposed to be an impartial person, and they were not doing a deal somewhere in the back room of some attorney's office. Although they probably have some apparatus documentation wise where they can, even if it's done in the office of the negotiation is done in the office of an attorney, it may be applicable and enforced. I would just rather go to a judge, and that way, I don't know how much more oversight you can get than being in a courtroom, and so that we both know where formally, with the most formality that you can get, where when we walk out, we each know what we're responsible for. And does that make sense?
I don't really think I don't fully agree. I think that courts are so corrupt nowadays, not to be trusted, and family has no business being in court. Family issues has no business being in court. I think.
Well,
I think that woman is evil for involving the court.
Well, yeah. But
for getting a divorce. She initiated the divorce? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's evil. The courts are evil. I don't have any faith in the courts to get some formal anything. Let God be formal in your mind. Whatever life is, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I say.
No, that's.
And you do what you want, definitely.
Sure.
Obviously.
Sure.
Because you're in the
yeah.
situation, you live with what you bring on yourself. Yeah.
Well, even this conversation, right?
I don't think that's what he was saying. Ladies in the chat are going crazy. Okay. Sorry about that. I was distracted by the ladies in the chat interpreting your words in a way that I don't think that is right.
What did Jesse say? Don't engage?
Yeah. Right. That's right. Don't answer the devil.
Yeah.
I got to run, though, man. We've been talking for over almost 35 minutes.
Yes. Hey,
it's great talking to you, though. Great call.
Thank you, Hake. I won't take any more of your time, and thank you for what you're doing and your team. Appreciate you guys. Happy New Year.
Thank you, man. And feel free to call back.
Appreciate you, sir.
All right. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Mal. A first-time caller in Connecticut. Mal, how do I pronounce your name? Mal. Oh, Mal. What's up, Mal?
Yes, sir. How you doing, Mr. Hake?
Doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing fine as well. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it, sir.
Yeah. Are you on this Bluetooth in the side of a car or a subway?
Yes, sir. I'm in my vehicle. Is it not coming through clearly?
No. Can you come on regular phone? It might be illegal,
yes,
though.
I can. It's definitely illegal. But
We'll try not to dox you and keep focused on the road.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Is this any better?
Oh, way better. Oh my goodness. Thank you, man.
Oh, excellent. Very
Yeah.
good. I apologize for that. How are you doing?
Doing
I guess
well.
you're doing well.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Hey, I appreciate everything that you do. It takes great courage to put yourself out there in the way that you do. So, give you props, sir. More power to you, and keep it coming.
Cool.
Yep.
Right.
So, I wanted to ask you one question, which may seem arbitrary at first, but it's connected to a topic that has been showing up on your live stream over maybe the past year or so. I've been noticing it more and more. I wanted a simple question. Do you have any knowledge of how a car differential functions on a vehicle?
I do
that
not.
connects the two. Okay.
What
So
were you
I'm
about
no-
to say? What were you about to say?
I was just going to keep continuing.
Connects
with
it to
thought.
what?
The differential connects with that is between the is in the middle of the axle that connects the two tires that are control the turning of the wheels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm no mechanic or anything like that, but I've been learning, and the reason it exists. And there's a simple video on Instagram that highlights it in like 3 minutes. It's an old black and white video from maybe the 50s that's been kind of circling about. But the reason it exists is because, for example, when a vehicle is turning around in a circle, the inner tire is, if you can imagine, two concentric circles.
That's right.
Imagine two concentric. Yes.
Okay. The inner tire is rotating more slowly than the outer tire, which has to rotate faster to make the turn. Whoa.
Bullseye. Yes, sir.
See, I'm kind of smart. I pick up on things sometimes.
You picked up on it much more quickly than anyone that I'd thrown it at first. So
the differential allows that to happen?
So what the differential does is it's got like a gear mechanism in it that allows for the inner tire to, instead of the inner tire skipping,
right,
because it's turning more slowly than the outer tire, allows the inner tire to actually turn more slowly than the outside tire, so that there's no skipping at all.
Yeah. Wow.
Without the differential, if you try to turn in a circle, the inner tire would have to skip several, continuously until the turn is completed, until you're going straight again.
Right. I never considered that is what's true and happens. Wow.
Oh, very good. Well, I'm glad I could. It seems like it may be of value to you, so I'm glad I could kind of highlight it quickly. We're all just signposts for each other, after all.
Yeah. Cool. So what about it?
Yes, sir. Okay, so now, sir, if you think, what else rotates in a circle?
The obvious globe, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So now
it might be like sort of an ellipse, but yeah, still. Oh,
okay,
you're talking about rotate. No. You're talking about rotates. You're talking about Earth turning on its axis.
Yes,
in terms of
See,
days and nights.
You're a very bright individual. Yes, sir.
Now he's buttering me up for the flat Earth smackdown, maybe.
Well, no, I understand. I understand that sentiment, and I have been that person in the past that has been insecure, wanting to validate his idea, position on the whole controversy or the argument between the models of the Earth and what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
But I would offer to you, sir, to think for yourself. Obviously, you can run the thought experiment on your own and think about, if we indeed did live on an oblate spheroid or any sort of spherical type of world, then if you're standing on either of the poles, you would spin. If you were standing right on the poles, you would spin like a spinning top. But if you were on the equator, you would have the longest length, the longest line of latitude to rotate in the same amount of time as the person who is at either pole or close to it.
No wonder those
close
people
to the pole. Yes, sir.
No wonder those people down there are so lazy, because they go the furthest without moving.
That's funny. But in all seriousness, if you really are going to be honest, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, if someone's in Ecuador, they're rotating their speed, their rotational speed is infinitely faster than someone who's very close to either the North or the South Pole. So if you were to travel from Ecuador to Canada, you should feel a heck of a difference in forces.
Yeah.
And we don't.
How do you know we don't?
You would think that in this world of communication that you would know. I mean, I've got a client who's from Ecuador, and they just got back, and I didn't hear of them like being pulled away, feeling like they were getting dragged at 1,000 times more force than someone who lives near the Arctic, in Greenland, or further up, right? I mean, let's just use our common sense here. If the model doesn't work, the model doesn't work.
But you don't know what that difference would necessarily feel like on this big old huge world, you know?
I don't know what it would feel like. I don't know what it would feel like to be on the fake physical moon either. But we analyze the model. Yep. Go ahead.
But you're speculating as to the difference in how you should feel when you're on this big old huge circle, meaning that close to the equator, versus the little tiny circle that's spinning up here on top of this big beautiful globe.
Yeah. The math says that there should be, much more force, and it's.
But there's so many other forces at work on us that you're only counting this force, so you don't necessarily know what the difference in the feeling would be. You know, is that true?
But to counter one force, you need an equal and opposite force. So there's no force that can counter that rotation except for an opposite rotation. So then you would be saying that the Earth's not moving.
Not necessarily, man. I think because you're not counting all the factors involved, and you are a part of this world, and this world doesn't really know or care that it's obviously spinning and obviously going thousands of miles an hour in space.
It's not obvious.
I mean,
it's not obvious. Hake, if you're honest with yourself, you know it's not obvious.
It's pretty obvious, though, if you think about how the sun moves.
It's not obvious. No,
to me, it's obvious.
I'll give you your. You're entitled to your perspective, obviously,
right?
And we all are. But what I'm trying to say, just to highlight another example, if you were to,
But let's deal with this one.
Go ahead.
Let's deal with this example because I like this example because it's so interesting. Okay. You're on this thing and you're going whoa, whoa, and say you're up here, you're going whoa, 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 and maybe that's part of that could be a factor for all kinds of different things that you don't even notice that are different, but are different. But you're assuming that you're assuming that you would feel much more different in ways that you imagine that you would feel.
You'd have to, because in the same we would need a card differential to balance out the forces.
But maybe there is a card differential. We have all kinds of different things inside of us. I once jokingly thought, and I don't think I've said this on air, that when you get dizzy, that's you know how you have this thing called your equilibrium inside your head or whatever, your ear? I once jokingly thought that when you lose your equilibrium, you're really feeling the spin of the Earth and all that stuff. You're not laughing, but I crack myself up with that
I hear you. No, listen, it is. Listen, it's funny. I don't mean to sound so.
No, you're fine. I prefer people be honest than charity laugh.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But I still think that
it's. Be honest.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you want me to be honest, there's no way we're living on a spinning ball, man. I mean, that's just the facts. I mean, the model itself is unprovable.
Oh.
And we live in a world that's controlled by.
What about the Coriolis effect? Have you ever heard of the Coriolis effect? You have, right?
Sure.
The Coriolis effect means the wind is here, and then because it is smaller circles over here, it's going up and kind of swirling. Right? That's what the Coriolis effect is? Being up in latitudes.
Oh, I may be confusing it with centrifugal force. I apologize. The Coriolis effect.
Coriolis effect is like, I think it has to do with what causes like this hurricanes and spin and things of the wind and storms and things.
Yeah. So, listen, I try to be as honest as possible with people who I perceive are at a point where they can receive certain information.
Stay close to your phone.
Sorry?
stay close to your phone. You said you try to be as honest as possible with people who,
Yes,
and then
sir.
it started to go away from your phone.
I apologize. Yeah, I just, I try to be as frank and as honest with folks as I can, given how I perceive where they're at in their understanding, their spiritual development, and what they're ready to hear, so to speak. It's like we all grow up as children, and you can't teach them certain things until they learn the basics first, and then you teach them the next level, and it goes on from there. You can't learn calculus unless you learn trigonometry, unless you learn geometry, unless you learn algebra, so to speak. So you picked up quickly on the Coriolis effect, and I wouldn't be calling you unless I thought, that you had an ear to hear this information out.
Yeah.
I don't, nobody really knows. God is a great mystery. God is obvious.
Right.
The evidence is everywhere. It's within us. Just look in the mirror, folks. Just look at how your body auto-magically repairs itself.
Yeah.
All the time.
So cool.
I mean, auto-magically. Yeah, it's amazing. It's miraculous.
I like that term
Does
too,
God-
kind of.
Auto-magically. Yeah, I had a friend that thought it was pretty cheeky yesterday as well, too. I'm just attempting to boil things down to highlight what's really going on, because there's so much hypnosis and wizardry out there to manipulate folks.
Yeah.
Nothing they tell us is real. Almost everything is a lie, and if they're hiding God from us, they know. The people in charge know.
I don't
God's
think
real and
you think
we're
that
a part of
you
God.
think that they're not blind leaders misleading the blind too.
There's definitely, I see it, is that there are people who have been very successful in the physical world over many generations, and they've passed along the lessons of success in the savagery of animalistic physical world success. They've passed that along through the generations, business and usury and so forth. And they've looked after their own, and money is the power. If you can control money, you can enslave people, because you can pay them to do whatever you want. And there's always somebody out there at a lower state of self-awareness that is willing to take a paycheck because it's more than they can get out there by themselves. So they sell their souls, so to speak.
Yeah.
They become sellouts. They become sellouts to the human race, so to speak. So at the very top are the ones that are most aware of everything that I've stated so far, the situation on Earth and the metaphysical reality of reality. But yeah, most of the people that we are aware of, the politicians, the celebrities, the CEOs, they're, the great majority of them are, as you described, lower state of awareness, and they're being manipulated to a certain extent, obviously, to manipulate the masses. They're, so
Right. Satan
they're
is the
working
god
for
of
the
this
man.
world.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But the silver lining is that the Most High is at the top.
Nice.
Yep.
Man, it's great hearing from you. I'm glad you called. You're the best flat earther I've talked. You're not a flat earther necessarily. You're a stationary earther. You're the best stationary earther I talked to. Pardon me for.
Oh, great. No, you're good. I appreciate that. I feel like
I can actually talk to you a little bit.
Yeah, I'm the kind of person that's willing to discuss any and all topics, because I've just been curious my whole life, and I just have wanted to know what the truth is. So yeah, I'm always, if you ever want to have a discussion in the future, I'd be more than welcome to dial in again.
Yeah, if you ever have,
but-
I like that you came in with an interesting point about and a concept to discuss.
Yes.
Others have called in, and I think that they're catching on too, with rattling off a bunch of facts that I don't know necessarily to be true, and I'm kind of like lost. And so this was cool.
Right. Yeah.
And-
So the thing is, say. Sorry, did I cut you off?
Yeah, can I dox your race and ethnicity? Are you black or white or Hispanic or Asian?
I'm of European descent.
Aha. Nice.
Yes.
But you're
my folks are
American.
both immigrants. Yes, sir.
Nice.
Born and raised.
Yeah. Cool.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So.
And were you
just to
a
wrap up
ball
quick-
tard in the past like the rest of us?
Was I a retard in the past?
Ball tard. Believed in the ball earth.
Yes, of course, like
Spinning.
everybody else. Yeah, I believe everything that the institution taught us, that the education system, that the media reinforced, and everything. Absolutely, I'm no different than anyone else. But at some point, by the
You're
grace of
fine,
God, I
Diddy.
started to have a. Sorry.
I was responded very rudely to somebody in the chat. Him Diddy is a fellow
No,
flat earther or stationary earther, I forget. And he's correcting himself, and he gets it. So anyway.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So like, what was I getting at there? Yeah. So like, like you said, hey, Satan's at the top, and it's just manipulation downstream. And so the truth is obfuscated, and I'm sure, a lot of people that are promoting, what do they call it? Controlled opposition. So, there are people such as myself that know or have a more of a insight into what the truth is, or that certain things they're telling us are absolutely false. But, the powers that be, they're looking for people to, they use people like that to lead the counter movement. So I'm sure many of these flat earthers are bought and sold, and so they're constantly arguing about, a plane should be dipping down all the time if it's flying.
No,
like
ridiculous.
Like
Huh?
they're
what
not.
angle?
It's like you have. Yeah, exactly. You have to fight the foolishness on its own territory. So it's like they forget like the laws of physics that we're dealing with and so forth. So I wanted to bring the car differential model to your attention.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I hope you think about it, over time, because it does.
I'm pretty sure I will, because this is sort of nature and physics. Although I never really got into them, in a like an academic way, I admire and like it. I love looking at a beautiful sunset and say, see, it's an obvious globe. So
right,
I will think about
where's
what
the
you.
evidence of the globe in that?
What's that?
Where is I'm curious though. Like if you have time, where is when you just said like there's the evidence for the globe, but how so?
Okay, so you got me, man. You hooked me. Here it is. Hold on.
That's impossible.
All right. I'm like pulling up my visual of the sunset. Sorry for the loud noise, people. Flat earthers. How is the sun setting? God is your father. I'm saying.
The devil is.
And there's the sun setting.
Impossible.
And that you see that horizon? That's that.
I don't have the video in front of me.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But I'm telling the viewers. My hands are cold.
Yep.
It's the sun setting past this point. This point. Boom.
Lord.
And so that's the globe.
It's dipping.
The drop off from the
It's not
horizon.
evidence of a globe though. Yeah.
It's evidence of the globe and the spin.
Focus.
In my mind.
I'm
I know that you don't see it, or you maybe are thinking about something that I'm not thinking about, or realizing something that I'm missing.
Right. That's what it is. It's not that it's not that I don't see it. I've gone through these motions for over a decade. Yeah. And it's not to be arrogant or anything.
No,
like that.
I'm not.
It's just to be
I'm not
honest.
feeling that way.
Great.
Yeah.
You're not a pussy. That's great.
Sorry, kids.
Sorry, kids. But yeah, I mean, like that you can explain that with perspective and visual acuity. There's plenty of experiments out there of folks zooming in and seeing more stuff that is missing from the horizon.
I can
Plus, you're
believe
dealing
that.
with, like, you're dealing with a lot of atmosphere too, so eventually you get refraction phenomena and stuff will get obscured
True.
and distorted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's plenty of experiments online where folks will go to a frozen lake where you shouldn't have significant drop in the curve and they run lasers across the lake and the guy can see it from the other side.
One last quick question then, since you brought this up. You know how water has ripples in it, right? Is it possible for
when you disturb it?
Yeah. Is it and then sometimes water has waves, bigger waves, and it goes like this.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible for a ripple, a dip in the water to be like across many miles so that you see further than you should? Is that possible?
Oh, I've never thought about that. I'd have to think about that for a while. So you're saying if there was a large wave in the ocean?
Yeah, kind of like how when there's I learned from CJ in Texas, a fellow Baltard, that there are things called storm surges. The literal level of the sea rises in that area because it's a storm surge, and that must mean that there's some place in the sea that's dipped lower, I think.
I would imagine because the volume of the water remains the same.
Right. So, consider that and get back to me, and we'll talk again.
Could you highlight it again quickly? Because I'm not sure exactly.
Is it possible?
What you're trying to highlight.
I'm suggesting that maybe, and this is totally I've never heard it anywhere. Is it possible that that's why you see further? One of the reasons why you may see further across a body of water than you should.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're saying if at the
that the water is not ever level, and
so you're saying at the horizon line. If you're looking at the ocean, if
there's this big old dip,
a wave in some direction, it could be a dip. Yeah, so if water was waving away from the horizon, if you're looking straight ahead and the wave is going away from you, that there would be, so that there'd be a dip in water and you could see further theoretically. But the wave, if the wave is in front of you, now you have a heightened level of water. So if there was a wave to the left or the right, it would pull water away and then you could see further. I could see that happening, yeah.
I got to run, man. It's great talking with you, Mal.
It was a pleasure, man. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
All right.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
God bless.
Bye.
Thanks.
Wow. I'm going to violate a rule, and I'm going to get to Dennis in New Jersey, who's over here on the line. Dennis, thank you for calling and holding. What's up?
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Yeah, I just wanted to address some ideas that I had about Abrahamic religions, but before I got to that, I just wanted to address the whole flat Earth thing.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe you can give me some understanding on it. But if the Earth is flat, why are there seasons? Like, for instance, we're in the northern hemisphere, and I'm in New Jersey right now.
Yep.
And it's like 20 degrees here. Like, why is it the wintertime here, and then if we were to go, travel down to Brazil, it would be hot, like in the summertime?
It's a good question. I'm with you. I'm a ball earther. I'm a ball tard. So I think that it's because the sun is hitting more heavily in this south of the equator. Right. So it's more direct sunlight over there than it is over here. The sun is more slanted here. I don't know if they have a cogent model to answer that question. They say stuff like, "Oh, it's because the sun is further over this way," but it doesn't make sense to me. But it's a fair question. Maybe somebody can call in with some sense and answer it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my question about the Abrahamic religions is the three Abrahamic religions is Christianity, Judaism, and Islam.
Uh-huh.
Now they call them the Abrahamic religions, and I know you're like really smart about the Bible. in the Old Testament. Isn't Abraham like the first prophet or something like that who had talked to God?
I don't think of him as a prophet. I think of him as like, they call him Father Abraham because he's the father of many nations, and most notably the Israelites. It became Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob who became Israel. But yeah, he's the one whom God spoke to and said, you're gonna be the guy, the father of many nations.
Okay, yeah. So that's what confused me. Is what is the divide? Particularly in between, Christians, Judaism, and Islam. If y'all all have the same God, or if we all have the same God,
Supposedly, yeah.
He comes from Abraham.
It does come from Abraham, but just like the children of a father fight amongst one another, so too do the children of Abraham, if you will. And so Christians say that Jesus was the Messiah who was the second Adam, the one who put things back together. And Jews say, no, he wasn't the Messiah. He was a false, he's a phony. And so that's what we fight about with the Jews, among other things. And then the Muslims say, no, Israel wasn't the chosen one. It was actually Ishmael. And Ishmael, I think this is what the Muslims say, Ishmael was the real one. But, you Jews had some, Jews and Israelites and Christians had some decent people. They respect Jesus, they say. And, but they have a completely different branch over who was the right kid. Who is the right? They're fighting over who was the right son of Abraham and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like if they all believe in the same God, and it all comes from Abraham. Then if they're fighting each other and going to war and killing each other over it, then I don't know. Maybe their religion isn't godly.
Yeah,
because I don't understand why God would make a religion, whereas though he would make his children kill each other over, something as trivial as maybe he was a prophet of this or maybe he was a prophet of that, if you all both believe in the same God.
If you pay attention to Christians, even among the Christians can't even get along. They'll fight you if you say Jesus is not God, he's the Son of God, but not God. They'll fight you if you say... if you say, oh, you could be a gay Christian, or oh, you can be a feminist Christian, they'll fight you over land. They'll fight the family. Christian families will fight each other over inheritance from the parents. So people will fight over anything. People are evil. I think the same God made all of us, but he let us all turn evil in his great wisdom.
Well, I also have one other question in regards to the Abrahamic religions, and I don't know if you could tell by my voice, but I'm of African American descent.
Okay. Meaning like a descendant of slavery, possibly Black American by way of Africa, or more recent, like immigrant from Africa descent.
No, I'm not an immigrant.
Nice.
My family came here. We're from South Carolina.
Nice.
Yeah, but we moved up north. But I'm a slave. I'm a child of slavery.
Okay.
Or a descendant of slavery. But so I was doing some research about the history of like my ancestors in West Africa, and they had like a different religion. And a lot of the Abrahamic religions say that those religions that are in West Africa are evil, And I'm just wondering, why do you think God would choose like Europeans or Arab people from the Middle East to deliver Christianity to the Black people of West Africa?
I think he lets... I was about to say, I think he lets what happens happen, and he uses, all things they say all things work together for the good of those who love him. So, these different people get a little bit of different minor credit for turning the let's say the black Americans, turning the black Americans Christian. That's nice. But God gets all of the real glory. I don't know. I don't really see that as, I personally don't necessarily see that as that important, because I think that there were the Bible says that there are people who never heard the gospel or heard the word of God or whatever written down, but they had it in their hearts. They followed the law in their hearts because they were made by God. So I suspect that there were people in Africa and people in slaves in America who knew God and were living from like the law in their hearts that God gave them.
Okay, so do you think God ever visited any of my ancestors in West Africa?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, West Africa. I mean, yeah, I would have to assume because he made everybody, right? So he's everywhere. He must have been in some of you guys, I think.
Yeah, that's
and you'll notice that most Christians are evil. So calling yourself Christian is no light in the world. It's going to be the few. It's always going to be the few.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I think there were a few in West Africa, just as there are a few in America, and a few in Europe, and a few in Asia, and places like all over like that.
Yeah, I just see the world as, us, trying to adapt to our environment and survive. And, I don't know, see any group being inherently evil or just trying to survive. I mean, I know they could do wrong things that are bad for the promotion or the,
right.
The strength and camaraderie of humanity and society. But, if we're just, living on this planet Earth trying to survive, and then, Europeans might come to America and tell the Indians that they're savages, because they don't know about Christianity. I don't know if that's right,
Oh, I got to talk to you again, man. I want to talk to you about that, but I don't have time right now.
Okay.
Can you call me again? And I'll
sure.
try to get to you earlier in the show.
Yeah, sure thing.
It's great talking with you, Dennis in New Jersey. Appreciate you, man.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks.
All right. Bye. Guys, this has been the Hake Report, and I am remiss because I am not and have not and will not and did not get to the Super Chats today. And I have to end sort of on time. I would like to end sort of on time with a nice short song. It's hardcore. Chaos Ain't Me by Orchid. Bye, guys. No, Joel. Bye, guys. Take care. No, I can't do the stinking Super Chats. I just can't do it. Bye. I'll do it tomorrow, hopefully. If the Lord is willing. Peace. In the Middle East. Or at least in your